Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is another Raid Shadow Legends video. Damn, busy old day for information. Now we've got new champions confirmed. These are actually going to be the champions that come on the tail end of Doom Tower. So for some people that have been collecting the fragments right since Doom Tower arrived, you might already be there. For other people that perhaps are newer to the game, these champions might be quite far in the distance for you. Unfortunately, they don't really have a system at the moment, and I hope they change it because it's getting a bit ridiculous now where people can actually choose the one they want. It's getting a bit to the point of totally ridiculous. If someone's coming into the game today, like we're talking, these champions won't be on their account for a few years. So it's a bit ridiculous. Anyway, they do what they do. I'll share with you the champions. I'll show you what they look like and I'll give you my opinion. Well, let's get into it. So we're going to start with the 3 epic champions, which are all from normal Doom Tower. So the tail end of normal Doom Tower. These are going to be the next ones in the list. First one up, Ishi or Ichi or Icky. So we don't have all the faction info and stuff like that, but pretty sure it's a lizardman, right? Or a lizard woman. So Ichi, what's going on? A1, attacks an enemy, 15% chance of an extra hit. Pretty basic A1, not terrible, not great. A2 then, attacks an enemy, 5 turn cooldown on this. Will ignore shield and block damage. Places a block damage buff on this champion for 1 turn if they kill someone. So no, it's an interesting A2, but nothing too crazy. A3, Ancient Rage, places a 30% increased crit damage buff and increased attack buff on this champion for 3 turns, then gets an extra turn. So far, all I'm thinking is, me. Selfish. Single target. It's just kind of like, is this really the way this one's going down? So increased crit damage, increased attack, then gets an extra turn. Fine. I guess you then go into your A2. Whenever this champion kills an enemy, decreases the cooldown of Crown Breaker by a turn. My view is basically weak source. I don't see anything particularly usable from this champion, especially when they're that far through the game, honestly. Feels like, compared to a lot of the other epics you pick up, not great. Let's move on. So, next one up then, Liburger. Who loves Liburger? I do after a few beers, I'll be honest. So, Liburger, probably the coolest looking champion of the group, I'd say. Maybe, I don't know, what are you saying here? Maybe an undead? Not sure. I'm not sure what faction this kind of visual is kind of falling into. I see the fangs there, which is why I'm saying undead. Could equally be an orc, I guess. Or you tell me, what do you reckon? A1, Dripping Doom. Attacks one enemy, 50% chance of placing a poison. Okay, not bad. So the A2 then, Boil from Within. Attacks one enemy, 75% chance of placing 2 poisons and poison sensitivity. Kind of feels a little bit clan boss focused at the moment, because really, other than clan boss, where does poison play a massive part in the end game? Don't forget, we're getting this champion very late into the game. 4 turn cooldown here. We've got an A3 then, Vigor Bloom, places increased defense and increased attack on all allies for 2 turns. It's okay. And then a passive here, when attacked, 50% chance of increasing the duration of all poisons by a turn. Again, it's an epic. Feels mediocre to me. Feels okay. Like, if you haven't got your poison sorted out for clan boss by the point that you get this champion, damn, what have you been up to? Right then, last of the epics, Prakarth, A1, Magnificent Scepter. Oh, I did say actually, what do I think this champion is? I have got no idea. I have got no idea what faction this falls into. Night Revs? Maybe Night Revs? I don't know. I'm not really sure. What do you think? What do you think about this one? 30% chance of removing a random debuff from an ally. Will not remove a debuff from themselves. A2 attacks an enemy. Places Revive on death on themselves. A3 puts Strengthen and Shield equal to 20% of this champion's max HP on all allies for 2 turns. That's on a 7-turn cooldown. That's a great ability, by the way, but a 7-turn is so long. I'd imagine there's got to be at least 3 books for reduced cooldowns in this. Then we got a passive here. This is Probably one of the most interesting passives that we're going to see, certainly in this type of this release. Increases the value of all shield buffs on all allies by 15% while this champion is alive. The only reason why that's interesting to me is because of the kind of Brogni silliness that happens in some clan boss setups. And another 15% shield could be quite fun. But I don't know how you would fit this champion into that style team. So maybe it's pointless anyway. But Prakarth, last of the epics, kind of probably the most viable one. But I mean, if we're talking about, you know, another, whatever that is, 9 months worth of rotation of Doom Tower, I'm not super excited for any of the normal champions. Any of the one from normal side, I feel like filler rather than, you know, like killer. Is that a new phrase I made up? Anyway, let's get on to the hard Doom Tower stuff. So first one in the mix then for hard Doom Tower. What have we got here? Chromax Moonblood. Guess that's got to be a Dark Elf, right? Cool looking. Really cool looking skin, this one. So Lunar Lance. Attacks an enemy. 60% chance of putting a decreased attack out there. Not bad for an A1. A2, Moonlight Bonds. Attacks an enemy. 75% chance of placing block buffs for 2 turns. Single target. It's a shame it's a single target, actually. Also fills this champion's turn meter by 30%. Okay. A3 then. Blood Moon. Attacks all enemies. Probably books to 100% chance of placing Provoke. And 75% chance of decreased accuracy. And then a passive here, when attacked, 35% chance of placing that beautiful Hex on the attacker for 1 turn. I don't know. It just feels mediocre. Feels pretty mediocre to me. What do you think? Is there somewhere where you're like, I'm dying to use Chromax Moonblood for input below? For what? Let me know. Right, next one. This dude looks freaking awesome. Gronjar. It kind of looks like he's made out of Lego. Looks like he's made of Lego to me, but obviously a dwarf. Pretty stocky looking fellow with this. Again, he's kind of inflicted by this almost like bits of crystal or rock coming out of his skin. We've seen it with the green infection. Now we're going yellow. So we've got Pyro Pummel. Attacks an enemy 2 times. Each hit, 30, probably goes up to 50 with books. % chance of placing a burn. Not a bad A1. A2, double hitter again. Attacks 1 enemy though. The first hit will be, first hit 75% chance of removing block debuffs buff. Interesting. The second hit, chance of removing a random buff. That's an interesting ability right there. It's a shame that's a single target. I'll tell you that now. That could be. I like the fact that it targets block debuffs and then targets something else. If that was an AoE, damn, that would be such a cool skill. Shame that's single target. Still not terrible though, honestly. Then we've got an AoE ability here. 75 will book to 100, I'm sure. Chance of placing a burn. Also fills this champion's turn meter for every burn the enemy team had before the attack. This feels like a Hydra built champion to me. We then got a passive here as well. This is quite a long old kit, this one. This champion will not receive any damage from burns. Instead, will heal 5% max HP each time the debuff activates. So if a burn comes on him, he doesn't care. And then an active, whenever an enemy attempts to freeze him, instantly removes it and places it on the attacker. Also places a burn on the attacker for a turn. The burn cannot be resisted. Damn, that is a freaking cool anti-freeze. It's got anti-freeze built in. So Gronjar, easily my favourite champion of the list so far. So last up then, Ginro the Stork, otherwise known as King Konk. Look at the Konk on this guy. Absolutely spiking people with his nose. Obviously, it's got to be a Shadowkin here. So what we got going on for the last champion? A1, Plunging Beak. Who is coming up with these names? Plunging Beak. Attacks an enemy. 50% chance of increasing the cooldown of one of the target skills by 2 turns. Okay. It's okay. A2, attacks an enemy. Places a stun for 2 turns. Will ignore blocked debuffs and blocked damage buffs. And then we've got an A3, places increased defense on himself, and for 3 turns, and a counter attack for 2 turns. I know, so far, so good. Like, is this not total weak source? It feels weak to me. Passive increases this champion's defense each time they counter attack, a bit like what Rock Dude from the Dwarves does, Rockbreaker. Defense resets every time this champion gets a turn. When attacking, converts this champion's resistance into additional accuracy. So I guess you go high resistance, and then he's got high resistance and high accuracy in his build. And then an active on the passive. At the end of this champion's turn, places a provoke for 1 turn on all enemies under increased attack. I guess he's kind of meant as an anti-arena style champion. You know, he's got... he's probably going to be like stacked with tons of defense, got counter attack in his build. But it's all single target stuff. I guess the counter-attack then gives him his A1 to put steals on cooldown, which is actually quite cool. The passive in relation to these steals is okay. I just feel like it's kind of... It reads okay. In reality, I don't know how well it does. I don't know. Maybe it is like a annoying defensive champion that once he's in an arena defense, your team just kind of start to fall apart. Could be. And being able to deal with block debuffs and block damage against an arena offense is probably quite useful. I don't know though, guys. Look, for me, the Lego Dwarf guy is probably my favorite looking dude. Also my favorite kit of the bunch. What do you think? Is there anyone in here where you're like, damn, I wish I was further in Doom Tower for that champion? And also, what's your view on them kind of always tagging champions onto the end of the list versus being able to pick the kind of next one that you actually want to progress your account? I've been Hell Hades, 6 new champions. I will see you later.